Hey guys, Bart here. Welcome to TST Garage. As you can see behind me, I have our MT-03 project bike mounted on our lift, and we will be installing some much needed crash protection components on that bike behind me. Let's talk about what we're doing. We already have our bar ends, our fork slider, our swing arm spools. All those parts are already installed on the bike. Those parts, along with these frame sliders you see here, make up what we call the total protection pack. You could scoop up all of these components together as a package with a discount, or if you're looking just for some of these components or maybe just the frame sliders I'm going to be demonstrating, that's cool too. We got you covered. These exist in two different variants. What you see here are the standard version. They have a slightly longer stick out from the frame here. We also have the Pro Racing series of these sliders. They're just a little bit shorter. We developed them for our Superbike and Super Sport variants of the R3. They don't stick out as far, so just in a tip over situation in a driveway or a garage, they won't protect as much of your plastics. But should you crash at a very high speed, slide off the pavement, hit some grass, they will have less likelihood of actually catching and digging in and flipping your bike over. Choice is yours. I know there are opinions about both of these components being superior, inferior. It's really up to you. I personally use the short ones on our R3s. On this bike, I think it's better to install the longer one. Like I said, choice is yours. And my job is to show you how to mount them. Let's quickly run through the specifications of this part. As you can see here, we have a nice long aluminum CNC machine component to achieve a proper spacing away from the frame and motor, and then a delrin puck that takes the first impact and disperses some of the energy from the impact and the slide, and is a consumable component. It's really meant to wear away as you slide so as not to propagate too many forces up the line into the components that are more critical. This is actually how this component saves the rest of your bike. The major areas that are helped are motor cases, controls, things like that. This will not save your bike from total loss if you crash hard enough, but it will minimize the cost of repair and the difficulty of the repair if you do crash at a moderate pace. These sets come by default with the black caps that close out the hole where you could see the hardware. We do include these. If you are interested in getting a slightly different color to match your color scheme, we have a bunch of different choices for you. For this particular install, we already have red anodized bar end spacers here, so we're going to go with the red. It closely matches the wheels and some of the other components on this bike, so this will make a nice cosmetic addition. Typically, we go through a part identification process for you guys. These are very simple. They're actually symmetric from left to right, so you have two of these spacers that are identical. The bolt that goes through the center is identical for both sides. There is a shoulder spacer that goes inside. Flange goes towards the outside of the puck. And you just get these things assembled in this way, and then this is ready to go on the bike. Let's hop on over to the bike and start the assembly. All right, guys, the first step will consist of removing this rubber cap from the frame right here under that radiator hose to expose the 8mm Allen, or hex if you prefer, bolt. We will loosen that up. Now, before I remove this bolt, I have to mention we do one side at a time. If you unbolt this side and the other side of the motor from the frame, you run the risk of drooping the motor, and we don't want to have to realign the whole motor in the frame. So it's really important just to do one side, take the bolt out, replace it with our new setup, and then move on to the next side. We get a lot of questions on what this tool is. If you guys are interested, it's the Stanley rotator ratchet. It's available in many, many different places. All right, we're going to take this out. We are not going to reuse this washer. We're just using the Womet-Tech components. Again, let's go over how it's assembled. Bolt through the spacer into the delrin, through the aluminum spacer, and that goes in the frame. Get that aligned, and we will use an 18mm socket. I like to thread this in by hand, make sure I get really good thread engagement before I put a tool on it. And then we'll need to bottom this out. I'm going to switch over to my torque wrench. I will set my torque wrench to 37 foot-pounds. All right. Now we'll get this cap in. I like to align the Womet logo parallel to the ground. Press that in, and that's it. That's as easy as it is. Let's move on over to the other side. All right, you guys, this was really a 5-minute install. Now the bike is properly protected on the side here against some damage that could occur in a low to medium speed crash. In higher speeds, it'll still help, but then it gets a little dicey. I've actually tested this technology in excess of 130 miles an hour at Daytona Raceway. Similar setup, just on an R1, and the bike fared really well. In these areas, I didn't actually enter the motor and have debris get in. So I really trust these components. I think they're really awesome. They're built really well, really high-end materials, and they actually look the biz too. So if you like what you see here, tstindustries.com is where you'll find it, along with a full catalog of parts for this bike and other bikes you may have in your stable. So hope to see you there. Ride safe, guys. Later.